Hey young man, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure, what is it?
Did you happen to vote about the latest issues in Athens last week?
No, I didn't. But I remember someone continually asking me to register to vote in Athens County. I figured I would do it later. Why do you ask?
Well, you love to party, don't you?
Of course, man. Oh, you baby, yeah.
Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Meow, 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 meow.
Well, good luck partying. Because last week people voted for a new noise ordinance that limits music and such no later than midnight.
What? How can that be?
Well, it looks like nobody showed up to vote against the noise ordinance. So late night rages will have to come to a halt at midnight.
That's crazy. Oh, you students make up roughly 70% of the population in Athens City.
I overheard. Are you talking about the noise ordinance? I went to vote against it, but I was the only student there.
This is weird. You're the only person to show up today that has voted against the silly noise ordinance.
Really? I must be the only true partier of this school then. I'm the best partier in all of Athens.
So is it safe to say that a low voter turnout was the cause of this terrible event to happen to us?
It sure is. With students making up such a majority, it's embarrassing that something they wouldn't like be able to be passed by vote.
It must have been all of the old people always complaining about us that showed up to vote.
This is ridiculous. You see, boys, voting locally has a direct impact on your everyday and more personal life. Not showing up to vote can be very bad. Obviously.
I never thought of it like that. Voting just does not seem important to me. It is like such a hassle.
Since the 20s, the only restriction to voting rights has been age. After 1971, the 26th Amendment granted 18-year-olds the right to vote. Because you are the ripe old age of 18, you have the right and responsibility to cast your vote for what you believe.
Exactly. If I had been more proactive about getting others to vote, then the results could have been different. We have to make sure we can continue to party all night.
Good. Because the problem with young people these days is that they do not see that voting is such a vital role to shape their society.
I wish I knew that showing up to vote was so important. I should have paid attention in high school to my social studies teacher.
Class, today we are going to talk about how voting is so important, especially in local polls. Pay attention.
Whatever. I would much rather sleep and definitely not pay any attention.
Not paying attention about voter turnout will not harm me at all.
So if all the OU students showed up to vote, we could deny any ordinance that we wouldn't like. We would be the powerful majority then.
We have to spread the word. Students should vote. Not doing so is irresponsible.
I heard you talking about the noise ordinance. When talking about voting, it is important to understand the interactionist's perspective.
What is the interactionist perspective? I have not heard of that before.
What society collectively concludes about a social issue, such as voting locally, comes from many interactions of members in that society.
So the indifference towards voting amongst students in general is a result of our collective attitude toward voting?
Well said. In order to increase the number of student voters, it will require large-scale social interactions by those who feel voting is important.
It is my understanding that the young people that don't vote do so because they are uninformed of the issues and why they are relevant to them.
I would be more likely to have voted if I was aware of the time and place as well as the issues. Perhaps the city could make that information more easily accessible.
Some people have suggested making voting day a holiday and giving everyone a half day off work in order to give people more time to go to the polls.
That makes sense. With people being busy with their jobs, providing for their families, or even living the hectic life of a student, it can be hard to find time on voting day. Excuse me, did you know that there are some important issues that can affect students like us and our community in the upcoming ballot? The information is there on the wall.
It is important to take the time to inform yourself of the issues and understand how they can affect us and our community. Tell all your friends.
I did not even know that a ballot was coming up. Some of the issues looked more important after a closer look. I will make sure to tell all my friends on Facebook.
We can help our community have a more complete representation of public opinions on certain issues by helping improve the voter turnout and increasing public awareness.
Now that we have fulfilled our civic duty, it is time to party.